The rain-slicked streets of Brooklyn gleamed under the sodium lamps like shattered promises, and I was halfway through my third whiskey when the door to the dive bar swung open, letting in a gust that carried his scent, clean linen and faint citrus, before I even saw his face. Jordan stood there, umbrella dripping, his coat collar turned up against the chill, but it was the glint of that unfamiliar ring on his finger that hit me like a freight train, silver and simple, mocking the empty space where mine used to be. "Alex," he said, voice cutting through the murmur of strangers like a blade. "I need to know why it hurts you more to forget me than it ever did to love me." I froze, glass midway to my lips, the burn in my throat forgotten as the world narrowed to him. Taller than I remembered, his jaw sharper from whatever hell he'd been through in the years since he vanished without a word. The bar's haze of cigarette smoke and low jazz couldn't blur the truth etched in his eyes. Regret, raw and unfiltered, tangled with something fiercer, like he'd come back not to bury us but to dig up the bones. Around us, the patrons, a mix of night shift workers nursing beers and a couple of queer kids whispering in the corner booth, faded into irrelevance. This was our storm, brewing again, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to run or pull him under with me. Jordan slid onto the stool beside me without asking, his knee brushing mine in that accidental way that never felt accidental, sending a jolt up my spine I hadn't braced for. "Engaged?" I finally managed, the word tasting like ash, forcing a laugh that came out brittle. He nodded, slow, like admitting it to himself all over again, and ordered a gin and tonic with the same quiet command he'd used back when we'd split rent on that cramped loft in Williamsburg, dreaming of galleries and gigs that never quite materialized. "Her name's Elena," he said, voice steady but eyes darting to the ring as if it might vanish. "We met in Chicago. She's steady, real." The implication hung there, unspoken. Unlike us. Unlike the chaos of late-night arguments over nothing and everything. The way we'd loved like we were racing a clock that only we could hear. I set my glass down harder than I meant to, the clink echoing like a gavel. Steady. The word clawed at me, because that's what I'd tried to be without him. Steady jobs at the ad agency, steady friends who didn't pry too deep, steady hookups that left me emptier than before. But seeing him now, with that ring glinting like a truce flag from a war we both lost, cracked open the vault I'd sealed shut. "You drove 6 hours in this weather to tell me about your fiancé?" My voice was low, edged with the sarcasm I'd honed like armor. He leaned in, close enough that I could see the faint scar above his eyebrow from that stupid skateboarding wipeout in Prospect Park, the one I'd kissed better under the stars. "No," he whispered. "I came because forgetting you is killing me slower than any love we had." The bar's door swung again, admitting a burst of cold air and the faint chatter from the street. Holiday lights twinkling prematurely on brownstones, cabs honking their impatient symphony. But inside my head, it was quieter, a vacuum where memories rushed in. The first time he'd kissed me at a rooftop party in Bushwick, fireflies from someone's lantern release dancing around us like blessings. The night he confessed his family's Bible-thumping disapproval over takeout Thai, his hands shaking as he said he couldn't choose between me and them. We'd chosen anyway, or tried to, until the weight of it all bent us backward. Now here he was, engaged to a woman, Elena, steady Elena, and asking questions that peeled back my skin like it was paper. I signaled for another round, buying time, my mind racing through the wreckage. Why did forgetting hurt more? Because love was ablaze, hot and consuming, but forgetting was the slow starve, the echo in an empty room where laughter used to bounce. "You left," I said finally, turning to face him fully, our knees pressing now in deliberate territory. "Packed your shit while I was at that client pitch in Midtown. Left a note that said, 'I can't breathe here anymore.' No calls, no texts. Just gone." His face crumpled, just a flicker, but enough to stir the old ache. I was scared, Alex. Of us. Of what it meant to keep choosing this when the world kept screaming it was wrong. The ring caught the light again, a reminder that he'd chosen something else, something safer, and yet here he sat, unraveling. We talked, or rather, I accused, he deflected, in that halting rhythm we'd perfected, the one that always ended with make-up sex or make-up silences. He told me about Chicago, the architecture firm where he'd landed on his feet, the blustery winters that matched his mood, how Elena had been a colleague first, a friend second, a fiancée in a whirlwind proposal under the bean at Millennium Park. "She's kind," he said, like that explained it, like kindness could fill the voids we'd carved in each other. But his eyes kept drifting to my mouth, to the way my fingers tapped the bar top, habits he used to tease me about. I wanted to hate him for it, for coming back and stirring the silt, but hate requires energy I didn't have left. As the clock ticked past midnight, the bar thinning out to the diehards, Jordan's hand found mine under the counter, thumb tracing the vein on my wrist like he was mapping home. "Tell me why," he pressed again, voice thick. "Why does letting go feel like dying piece by piece?" I pulled away, not gently, the rejection stinging us both. "Because you were my mirror," I thought, the one who saw the queer kid from Ohio, the one who'd fled small-town sneers and Sunday sermons, and said, "You're enough." "Forgetting you means forgetting that version of me." But aloud, I said, "Because love ends. Forgetting just lingers." He didn't leave that night. Instead, we stumbled out into the rain, sharing an umbrella that barely covered us, hailing a cab back to my place in Bed-Stuy. The driver glanced in the rear view, clocking us with that neutral curiosity New Yorkers feign, but Jordan's arm around my shoulders felt like defiance, like reclaiming a flag we'd burned. My apartment was much the same, bookshelves sagging under art tomes, a half-dead fiddle-leaf fig in the corner, but the air hummed with his presence, charged like before a storm breaks. We didn't kiss, didn't cross that line. Instead, we sat on the fire escape with mugs of instant coffee, watching the city pulse below, its lights a constellation of other people's secrets. By dawn, with the rain easing to a drizzle, Jordan confessed the real reason he'd come. Elena knew about me. Not just as the ex, but as the ghost, the one whose shadow lengthened every time he tried to step forward. She'd found old photos in his phone, letters I'd written tucked in a drawer, and instead of jealousy, she'd pushed him to face it. "Go," she'd said, her voice steady as ever, "or we'll never work." So here he was, ring intact, heart in tatters, asking me to help him bury what wouldn't stay dead. I laughed then, bitter and true, because only Jordan could turn closure into a sequel. But as the sun crested the skyline, painting the rooftops gold, I felt the pull, the dangerous gravity of us. Friendship, he'd called it once, when things got too intense, but we'd both known it was more, a lifeline woven from shared silences and stolen touches. Now, with him engaged and me adrift, that lifeline felt like a noose. "Stay for breakfast," I said, standing to go inside, not waiting for his answer. He followed, and in the kitchen's warm light, as I cracked eggs into a bowl, I wondered if this was forgiveness or just the first fracture in the dam. The days blurred after that, Jordan lingering like smoke you can't quite air out. He'd crash on my couch, claiming train delays back to Chicago, but we both knew it was avoidance. Of Elena's questions, of his own doubts. Mornings became ours. Coffee runs to the bodega on the corner, where the owner, Mr. Patel, would wink and slip us extra bagels, his quiet allyship a balm against the world's rough edges. Afternoons, he'd sketch at my drafting table while I worked remotely, his pencil scratching out buildings that soared like dreams deferred. We'd talk about everything and nothing. The latest queer rom-com that fell flat on representation, the pride flag still fluttering from summer polls despite the chill, and avoid the minefield of us. Yet the ring was a constant, a cold weight when our hands brushed passing the creamer, a spark when he twisted it absently during silences. One evening, as we walked through McCarran Park, leaves crunching underfoot like brittle apologies, he stopped by the pond, where ducks quacked their indifferent symphony. "Alex, what if I called it off?" The words hung there, fragile as the first frost. My heart stuttered. Hope, fear, a cocktail I'd sworn off, but I played it cool, shoving hands in pockets. "Don't. For me. That's not how this works." He turned, eyes searching mine, the park's lamps flickering on like hesitant confessions. "Then for what? Because steady isn't enough if it's not real." That night, the tension crested. We'd come back buzzed from cheap wine at a neighborhood spot, a hole in the wall with drag trivia that had us howling over wrong answers. In the hallway, fumbling keys, his hand steadied on my waist, and for a beat, we were 22 again, hungry and invincible. But I stepped back, the ring biting into my palm where I'd grabbed his hand to stop him. "You're engaged, Jordan." "Engaged?" He nodded, deflated, sinking onto the couch as I retreated to my room, door clicking shut like a period. Sleep evaded me, the ceiling a map of doubts. Why did he come back? To torment me with what-ifs? Or because deep down, the love we'd buried was clawing its way out? By morning, he'd be gone, back to Chicago and Elena, leaving me to piece together the shards. But as I lay there, listening to his uneven breaths through the wall, I realized the hurt of forgetting wasn't just loss. It was the fear that without him, I'd fade too. Weeks stretched into a fragile routine, Jordan's visits stretching from overnights to weekends, his excuses thinning like the autumn light. Elena, bless her unknowing heart, thought it was closure therapy, a final exorcism before the wedding in spring. He'd text her updates, sanitized snapshots of us at diners, captions like healing old wounds with an old friend, while in reality, we were picking at scabs, drawing blood with every shared glance. My best friend, Mia, clocked it first during our weekly brunch at that vegan spot in Greenpoint, her fork pausing midair over avocado toast. "Girl, he's not here for tea and sympathy. That's a man unraveling." Mia, with her buzz cut and tattooed arms, had been my rock since college. Fierce, unapologetically bi, the kind of friend who dragged you to rallies and reminded you your worth wasn't negotiable. I shrugged it off, but her words lodged like a splinter. Mia knew the history, how Jordan and I had met at a queer-lit reading in the village, him reciting Whitman with a voice that hooked me like a line from a poem. We'd built a life in fragments, gallery openings where he'd charm curators while I networked awkwardly, lazy Sundays in bed debating Foucault over brunch. But the cracks showed early, his internalized guilt from a conservative upbringing in suburban Jersey, my own baggage from foster homes that taught me love was temporary. When he left, Mia had helped pack away his clothes, her hugs the only thing keeping me vertical. Now, with Jordan orbiting again, she staged an intervention over mimosas. "He's engaged, Alex. To a woman. You think that's coincidence?" Her eyes, sharp as ever, pinned me. I deflected with jokes about wedding crashers, but inside, the question festered. Was it? Or was Elena the shield, the compromise for a world that still whispered freak behind polite smiles? Jordan never said he was bi, not outright, but we danced around it, his flings with women before me footnotes in our story. "He's confused," I admitted finally, voice small. Mia squeezed my hand. "And you're what? His safe harbor? Don't drown for him." That conversation echoed when Jordan showed up Friday with takeout from our old Thai place. Pad see ew, steaming in cartons, his smile tentative. "Date night," I teased, but it landed flat. We ate on the floor, backs against the couch, trading stories like currency. His latest project, a community center in Pilsen with murals by local trans artists. My promotion at the agency, pitching campaigns for inclusive brands that felt like half measures. Then, inevitable, the turn. Elena's planning the registry. China, crystal, the works. His tone was light, but his fork scraped the plate too hard. I nodded, swallowing the urge to ask if there was room for ghosts in those cabinets. Later, as rain pattered the window again, he pulled out his phone, scrolling photos of venues, rustic barns outside the city, fairy lights strung like promises. "What do you think?" he asked, holding it out, our shoulders touching. I leaned in, the scent of him overwhelming, and pointed to one, a loft space with exposed brick, echoing our old place. "This. Real. No frills." He lingered on it, thumb hovering, then locked the screen. "Yeah, real." The word again, loaded now, and when his eyes met mine, the air thickened, charged with the unsaid. We didn't cross the line that night, but the proximity was torture, his laugh lines deepening as we binge-watched old episodes of Queer as Folk, debating if it aged well or just aged us. By midnight, he'd dozed off, head lolling on my shoulder, and I didn't move, tracing the ring's outline with my gaze. Why forget when this easy ache, felt alive? But Mia's warning whispered, alive doesn't mean safe. Saturday brought a curveball, his sister, Lauren, in town for a Broadway matinee. Jordan insisted I join, for old times, but I saw the test in it. parading me before family blood, the ones who'd once sent conversion pamphlets disguised as care packages. Lauren was the soft one, a lesbian theater nerd with a pixie cut and a laugh like bells, who'd cornered me at holidays with whispered apologies for their parents' bigotry. We met at a cafe in Chelsea, steam rising from lattes as she hugged me fierce. "Heard you're the reason he's moping," she teased, but her eyes held questions. Over salads, the talk flowed. Her latest off-Broadway flop, my agency's diversity push, but undercurrents pulled. Jordan's fidgeting, Lauren's sidelong glances. Then, blunt as ever, she asked, "So, engaged life treating you okay, bro?" He choked on his water, and I busied with my napkin, heart pounding. "It's good," he said, too quick. Lauren arched a brow at me. "He talks about you nonstop, Alex." Like, obsessively. Jordan shot her a look, but she barreled on. "Remember that time in high school when you wrote that poem about the boy next door? Still got it framed." The table stilled, the weight of history crashing down. Back on the street, wind whipping scarves, Lauren linked arms with me. "He's scared shitless. Always has been." Jordan trailed, silent, until we parted at the subway. "Thanks for coming," he murmured, hand on my elbow. Felt right. I nodded, throat tight, and as the train rattled away, I wondered if right was enough to rewrite endings. The weekend peaked Sunday with a walk along the High Line, the elevated park a ribbon of green above the Hudson's churn. Tourists milled, snapping selfies, oblivious to us weaving through, Jordan pointing out sculptures, me snapping back with art history trivia we'd memorized to impress each other. At the edge, overlooking the water, he stopped, wind tousling his hair. "I keep thinking about what you said. About lingering." His voice was soft, nearly lost in the breeze. I waited, breath held. "Forgetting you isn't dying slow. It's realizing I was never alive without you." The confession hung, a bridge or a bomb, and I crossed it halfway. "Then what are you doing here with that?" I nodded at the ring. He twisted it, shadows playing on his face. "Hiding. From Dad's voice in my head, from the what-ifs." "But Elena," she sees through it. "Says I'm half in, and that's not fair." Fair. The word stung, because fairness had never been our deal. Love like ours thrived in the unfair, the stolen, the fierce. We stood there as dusk fell, the city igniting below, and for the first time, I let myself imagine him staying. Ring off, us rebuilding on steadier ground. But imagination's a thief, and as we headed home, his phone buzzed, Elena, checking in. He answered, voice warm, and the spell shattered. That night, alone in my bed while he texted from the couch, I cried for the first time since he left, the hurt of forgetting sharpening into clarity. Love him or lose him, but half measures would kill us both. November crept in with its gray skies and early dark, mirroring the fog settling over us. Jordan's visits turned weekly, a rhythm that lulled me into dangerous normalcy. Him stocking my fridge with craft IPAs, me leaving space in the closet for his weekend bag. We'd cook together, bumping hips in the tiny kitchen, arguing over spice levels like it was foreplay. But the ring loomed, a third wheel in every room, and Elena's shadow lengthened with each call he took in hushed tones, her laughter filtering through like smoke. Mia cornered me again at our gym session, sweat dripping as we pounded the ellipticals. You're glowing, but it's the bad kind, like radiation. I rolled my eyes, but she pressed, wiping her face with a towel. He's using you as a rebound from his own denial. Why guys get that luxury sometimes, but you're all in, every time. Her words landed heavy, because she was right. I'd always been the one who loved loud, unreserved. While Jordan navigated his attractions like a minefield, family expectations the biggest bomb. What if he's figuring it out? I countered, slowing my pace. Mia snorted. Figuring it out on your heart? Pass. That doubt gnawed as Jordan and I hit a queer open mic in the East Village that Friday, the basement venue pulsing with bodies and beats. He performed a spoken word piece he'd been tinkering with. Lines about bridges burned and rebuilt, his voice steady, but eyes locked on me through the dim lights. The crowd snapped approval, a trans poet hugging him after, but backstage, as we shared a lukewarm beer, he deflated. It was shit. Too vague. I shook my head. It was you. Honest. He searched my face, then leaned in, forehead to mine, breath mingling. Honest hurts. We left arm in arm, the night alive with street performers and food trucks, but the closeness ignited sparks we couldn't douse. At my place, wine loosening tongues, he admitted more. Elena's family was old money, accepting on the surface but probing with questions about commitment timelines. They like her polish, my potential, he said, sprawled on the rug. But they don't know me. Not like you. The vulnerability cracked me open, and I knelt beside him, fingers grazing his jaw. Then let them choose you. He caught my hand, pulling me down, our faces inches apart, the air electric. For a heartbeat, I thought he'd kiss me. Lips parting, eyes dark with want, but the ring pressed cold against my skin, and he rolled away, muttering apologies. Can't. Not fair. I retreated to the bathroom, splashing water on my face, staring at the mirror's stranger, hollow cheeks, eyes shadowed. Was this love or self-sabotage? Saturday dawned crisp, and we escaped to Coney Island, chasing nostalgia on the empty boardwalk. The cyclone loomed skeletal against the sky, and Jordan dared me on the Wonder Wheel, our gondola swinging high over the Atlantic's roar. Up there, wind whipping, he yelled over the gusts. Remember our first trip? You puked cotton candy. I held your hair. I laughed, the memory sweet sour. You said forever then. He sobered, gripping the bar. I meant it. Still do. The wheel creaked down, depositing us dizzy, and as we wandered the sand, shoes off, he wove our fingers, ring and all, like it was nothing and everything. But the idol fractured when his phone rang mid-stroll. His mother, voice tinny through speaker. Jordan, the save-the-dates arrived. Elena looks radiant. Pride laced her words, but under it, the old caution. Just ensure it's right, son. Family first. He hung up quick, face ashen, and kicked at a shell. She still thinks it's a phase. Me, us, everything. I pulled him into a hug, his body rigid then melting, the ocean's crash drowning our silence. Phases end, I said. This doesn't have to. That night, back in Brooklyn, tension simmered into storm. We'd planned a quiet dinner, but he paced instead, ring glinting like accusation. I can't keep doing this, flying out, pretending it's casual. Elena senses it, Alex. She's pulling away. Guilt twisted in me, sharp. Then go home. Fix it. He whirled, eyes blazing. And what? Marry her and wonder? Or call it off and blow up my life for what ifs? The words stung, reducing us to hypotheticals, and I fired back. For love, Jordan. The kind that doesn't hide. He stormed out, doors slamming, leaving me in the echo. I texted Mia at 2 a.m., her reply instant. Let him go. For real this time. But by morning, he was back, knocking sheepish with coffee and croissants. I'm sorry. Panicked. We forgave easy, as always, but the fracture lingered, a hairline crack threatening to spiderweb. The week after, Lauren texted me directly, a lifeline tossed. Coffee. Without the idiot. We met at a spot in Hell's Kitchen, her spilling over cappuccinos, Jordan's late-night calls to her, drunk dialing doubts about the wedding. He's in love with you, always was. But Dad's dying, Alex. Cancer. That's why the rush. Elena's the safe choice, the one who fits the eulogy. The revelation hit, like ice water. His father's illness, hidden from me, explained the frenzy, the ring as armor. He didn't tell you? Lauren's pity burned. Thinks he's protecting you. I confronted him that weekend, over pizza in my living room, sauce staining fingers. Your dad's sick. He froze, slice dropping. Lauren blabbed. Not anger, just resignation. Then the flood, diagnoses, treatments, his mother's pleas for a legacy. I thought marrying her would ease it, give him peace. Tears tracked his cheeks, and I wiped them, heart aching. Peace isn't pretend. He leaned into me, forehead to shoulder, and we stayed like that, the TV droning forgotten rom-coms. But peace eluded. Elena flew in unannounced the next Friday, a whirlwind of Midwestern warmth and sharp eyes. Jordan had mentioned it offhand, but seeing her, tall, auburn-haired, with a laugh that filled rooms, twisted something visceral. She hugged me like an old pal. Jordan's told me all about you. But her gaze lingered, assessing. Dinner at a cozy Italian in Cobble Hill was civil torture. Her stories of their hikes in the Smokies, his nods affectionate, but strained. Under the table, his knee found mine, a secret Morse code, and I jerked away, Elena none the wiser. After, as she excused to the restroom, Jordan hissed, "This is hell." I wanted to scream agreement, but whispered instead, "End it." Properly. He nodded, but when she returned, beaming over tiramisu, the moment passed. She stayed the night. On the couch, Jordan in my bed, a chaste barrier of twisted sheets. I lay awake, listening to their murmurs through the wall, jealousy a live wire. By dawn, she'd gone, kissing him goodbye with a tenderness that gutted me. Alone again, Jordan confessed over burnt toast. I told her about Dad. She gets it, but she wants all of me. The admission hung, and I pushed, then give it. To her or us, unspoken. He stood, cup clattering. I need time. Time. The thief that stole us once, promising more theft. As he packed for Chicago, I felt the old void yawn. But this time, resolve hardened. "Don't come back half-assed," I said at the door. He paused, bag slung, eyes stormy. What if whole-assed isn't enough? The question echoed long after the elevator dinged, leaving me to wonder if forgetting's hurt was mercy in disguise. December dusted the city in frost, holiday lights winking like false hopes as Jordan's silence stretched. Texts sparse, calls rarer. Elena's save-the-dates arrived in his inbox, elegant cards with their monogrammed initials, and he forwarded one to me with a single emoji, a broken heart. I deleted it, diving into work, pitching bold campaigns for queer youth shelters that earn nods from bosses, but no balm for the bruise. Mia dragged me to holiday markets in Union Square. Her arm looped mine as we sipped hot cider, dodging Santas and shoppers. See? Life without the drama king. But her cheer rang hollow. I missed the chaos, the way he made ordinary electric. Then, Christmas Eve, a knock shattered the quiet. Jordan, snow-dusted, duffel at feet, Elena's ring gone. Tossed, he said later, into Lake Michigan's icy depths. I called it off. Told her everything. His voice cracked, exhaustion carving hollows under his eyes. I pulled him in, shedding coats, the apartment blooming with his presence like a long-withheld breath. We didn't talk that night. Instead, cocoa by the tree I'd half-assed decorated, Bing Crosby crooning from the radio, his head on my lap as I carded fingers through his hair. "Merry Christmas," I murmured, and he whispered back, "Home." The new year dawned tentative, Jordan subletting a place in Queens while job hunting in the city, architecture gigs scarce, but his portfolio gleamed with passion projects. We rebuilt slow, brunches with Mia, who eyed him wary but warmed over shared stories of her ex's ghosting. Game nights with my coworker Theo, a non-binary artist whose dry wit disarmed Jordan's nerves. But shadows lingered, his father's chemo updates, terse voicemails from mom pleading, "Reconsider Elena," for us. Jordan shielded me, but I saw the toll. Nights he woke sweating, murmuring apologies to ghosts. One stormy January afternoon, we volunteered at a queer youth center in Harlem, the space buzzing with teens painting murals, bold strokes of rainbow defiance. Jordan mentored a shy kid named Kai, all gangly limbs and guarded eyes, sharing sketches of safe houses turned sanctuaries. Watching him, patient and alive, swelled pride in me, but Kai's question pierced. "You ever hide who you are?" Jordan glanced at me, raw. Tried. Didn't work. Later, walking home through slush, he gripped my hand. That could have been me. 15, terrified. The vulnerability bonded us deeper, love rekindling not as fire but ember, steady burn. Yet conflict brewed. Lauren visited in February, crashing our Valentines, a candlelit dinner I'd planned simple, pasta and wine. She arrived with champagne and accusations. "Dad's asking for you, Jordan. Says the prodigal needs to repent." The air chilled, forks clinking tense. Jordan's face hardened. "Repent what?" "Loving." Lauren softened, tears welling. "He knows about the breakup. Thinks it's confirmation." Confirmation of what? Their sermon's curse, that queerness was sin, fleeting. I excused to the kitchen, heart hammering. But Jordan followed, backing me against the counter. "This is us, not them." His kiss then was fierce, claiming, the first since his return, tasting of garlic and desperation. We made love that night, not rushed, but deliberate, bodies remembering paths, whispers mapping scars. No frenzy, just reconnection, his hands tracing my ribs like blueprints, my lips on his collarbone murmuring truths. Afterward, tangled sheets, he confessed. I told Elena it was you. Always. Relief flooded, but so did fear. What now, with family fracturing? Spring teased with crocuses as Jordan's father's condition worsened, pulling him to Jersey for weekends. I drive him, waiting in the car outside the sterile hospital, scrolling news of pride marches while he emerged drained, smelling of antiseptic. One visit, he invited me in. He wants to meet you. Properly. The room was beige purgatory, his dad frail under blankets, eyes sharp despite the pain. So, you're the one, he rasped. No warmth, but no venom. Jordan tensed beside me. Yeah, love him. The man nodded, slow, glancing at the Bible on his tray. Love's a heavy word. Don't squander it. It was an absolution, but a crack in the wall, enough for light. Back in the city, tensions eased, but misunderstandings simmered elsewhere. Theo, over beers at a rooftop bar, misread our glow as smug, venting about his own string of bad dates. Y'all make it look easy. Must be nice, no baggage. Jordan bristled. Baggage? Try family funerals and ex-fiancés. And the night soured, Theo storming off with a muttered, fragile much. I smoothed it later, but the seed planted. Were we naive, bubble-wrapped in our bubble? Climax brewed in May, at a gallery opening in Soho. Jordan's first solo exhibit, blueprints of queer spaces, hostels for runaways, cafes with pronoun pins. The crowd swelled, curators, activists, Mia beaming in a velvet suit. Elena appeared, uninvited, elegant in emerald, champagne flute in hand. Supportive ex, she said, hugging me stiff. Jordan paled, but she pulled him aside, words lost in murmur. I watched, gut churning, as she slipped him a letter. His, returned, margins annotated with her calm script. You deserve truth. He read it later, alone on our fire escape, face crumpling. She forgives me, says I'm free, but what if I don't want free? What if I want us whole? I knelt beside him, city hum below. Then fight for it. No halves. He nodded, but dawn brought calls. His mother, hysterical, dad's turn for worse. Come home. Elena's here. Make it right. The pull tore at him, and he left, promising soon. Weeks passed in limbo, his texts loving but distant. Mia warned, he's slipping back. I ignored, throwing into work, but the void echoed. Then, June Pride, rainbow flags snapping like war banners, he reappeared at the parade, float in hand for the center, me beside. Chose you, he yelled over cheers, kissing me fierce amid confetti rain. But joy cracked when his phone buzzed, Dad gone. Peace, at last, but at what cost? Grief draped us like funeral crepe, Jordan retreating to Jersey for the service, me trailing as support, silent in the pews, hand in his under hymnals that rang hollow. His mother nodded cool acknowledgement, Lauren squeezing my knee. He's glad you're here. The eulogy painted a man of faith, omissions glaring, his quiet tolerance late blooming, whispers of don't shame us, buried with him. At the graveside, rain spitting, Jordan broke, sobbing into my shoulder as clods thudded, family averting eyes from our entwined hands. Back in the city, mourning morphed to mending, but prejudices lingered like aftershocks. His aunt cornered him at the repast, Bible verse on lips. God heals all, son. Consider counseling. Jordan's retort sharp. Counseling? Or conversion? She flushed, retreating, but the barb stuck, fueling late-night rants over whiskey. How faith twisted love into liability. Dad softened at the end. He said, swirling ice. Asked forgiveness. For all of it. I held him, whispering. That's yours to carry light now. Summer sweltered, our rhythm finding footing. Lazy mornings in Prospect Park, picnics with Mia and Theo, reconciled over apologies and arcade games. Jordan landed a gig redesigning a LGBTQ+ clinic in the Bronx, sketches sprawling our table, his passion reigniting mine. We'd collaborate, me brainstorming branding, him drafting flows, synergy electric, like we'd never parted. But old hurts surfaced in quiet. One night, post-dinner, he froze mid-dish, staring at my back. You think I'll leave again? The question raw, my answer honest. Every day. Trust rebuilt brick by brick, but surprise is ambushed. Elena emailed, "Congratulations on the exhibit. A gallery invite enclosed." No strings, it read, but Jordan agonized. What if she's right? What if I'm still bisexual? Unspoken, the label a specter. I pushed gentle. Labels don't cage. They clarify. We talked dawn to dusk, him admitting attractions fluid, past flings with women not betrayals, but facets. "You're my north," he said, palm to chest. Relief washed, deepening us. No jealousy, just honesty, prejudices of assumption dissolving. Yet conflict crested external. A client at my agency, conservative suit, nixed a campaign for edgy queer visuals, appeals to the wrong demo. I fought, citing data, but the axe fell, demotion looming. Jordan fumed at home, pacing. Screw them. We'll freelance. His fire bolstered, but doubt crept. Was I enough without the stability? He sensed, pulling me close. "You're everything. We'll build ours." High drama hit in August, a heat wave trapping us indoors, when Lauren dropped a bomb. Mom's selling the family home. Proceeds split, but she wants you to have Dad's watch. Said you earned it. Jordan laughed bitter, but accepted, the heirloom heavy on wrist. That night, vulnerability peaked. He slipped it off, tracing my pulse. "Wear it. For us." The gesture intimate, sealing promises, but sleep brought dreams, his, of abandonment, mine of loss, waking us sweat slick, clinging. September brought renewal, joint applications for a loft in Crown Heights, bigger space for his drafting table, my vision board. Viewings blurred, charming but cramped, until one, sun-drenched, exposed brick, view of the bridge. "Ours," he said, spinning me. Signing papers felt vow-like, no rings but commitment etched. But climax loomed familial. His mother visited unannounced, tea in hand, eyes appraising our boxes. "Nice place. Stable." The dig veiled, but Jordan bristled. "Happier than stable." She softened over cake, admitting, "Your father. He prayed for you. For peace." Tears flowed, bridge tentative, her hand on his, then mine. "Take care of him." Prejudice cracked, not gone, but yielding. October's leaves turned as we settled, furniture assembled amid laughter, but tension simmered internal. A hookup app pinged on his phone, forgotten profile, innocent scroll, but I saw, heart seizing. Testing waters? Accusation flew, old insecurities flaring. He deleted it instant, hurt mirroring. No, just scared of complacency. The fight escalated, yells echoing bare walls, him storming to the fire escape, me slamming doors. Mia mediated next day, coffee in hand. Talk, don't torch. Reconciliation came raw. Dinner out, tie again, apologies over spring rolls. "I fear losing you to routine," he confessed. "Then fight routine with me." I countered. We vowed, date nights mandatory, trips planned. A weekend in the Catskills, leaves ablaze. November chilled, but warmth grew, his clinic project breaking ground, my agency rebounding with a viral inclusive ad. Pride swelled at the ribbon cutting, his speech thanking, "The man who reminds me home is choice." Cameras flashed, us arm in arm, unashamed. Yet the arc peaked December 1st snow, anniversary of his return. We recreated that bar night. Whiskeys, jazz. But midway, he knelt. Not with ring but poem, Whitman-esque. Lines of enduring, of hurt transmuted to strength. Why forgetting hurt more? Because it meant erasing us. Marry this, me you the mess. Tears blurred, yes spilling, not for perfection but the depth we'd forged. Winter wrapped us in anticipation, engagement whispers rippling to friends. Mia whooping over brunch, Theo sketching invite concepts. But prejudices persisted subtle. A colleague's congrats, but really settling? Jab, masked as jest, igniting Jordan's ire. Settling? This is Summit. His defense fierce, mine quieter. Internal dialogues questioning if love armored or blinded. Yet growth bloomed. Therapy sessions joint, unpacking baggage. His biphobia scars, my abandonment echoes. Therapist praising our candor. Spring surged with plans. Venue hunts in the Hudson Valley. Barnes rustic echoing our raw start. Elena even RSVP'd yes. Her note gracious. Honored to witness your truth. Surprise softened old edges. her presence at a tasting, wine swirling, laughs shared, a full circle, no venom. But conflict brewed maternal. His mother, thawing, hosted a dinner, Jersey suburbs unchanged, cross on wall sentinel. She fussed over roasts, but eyes darted to our clasped hands. Midway, plates cleared, she broached, a ceremony? But church. Jordan tensed. Ours, Mom. Inclusive. Debates simmered, her quoting scripture, him countering love's gospel, until Lauren mediated, let joy be the witness. Truce fragile, but she nodded, gifting linens, for your bed. Blessings. Progress, incremental. Summer heat tested, Jordan's freelance dried, bills mounting, my hours crunching. Stress frayed. Arguments over budgets, silence is heavy. One night, post-layoff scare, he snapped, can't we just escape? I fired, escape's what broke us. Door slams echoed, him crashing at Lauren's, me pacing empty rooms. Mia's called dawn. Brief. Fight smart. He returned noon, flowers wilting like apologies. Scared of failing us. We mapped finances raw, side hustles, savings pooled, emerging tighter, resilience forged. High drama crested August, family reunion invite, his cousins, conservative kin, neutral ground a park picnic. We went, hands linked defiant, but whispers slithered. Heard about the wedding. Bull. A uncle cornered Jordan, beer breath. Marriage is man-woman, Bible says. Jordan's retort calm fire. Bible says love neighbor. That's my vow, standoff, but we left unscathed, his pride swelling mine. September steadied, invitations mailed, bold script, our names equal. Responses flooded, yes joyful, no's polite but pointed from distant relatives. One no gutted, his grandmother, can't abide. Jordan mourned brief, then shrugged, her loss. October painted gold as rehearsals loomed, but surprise twisted. Elena confided privately, over coffee, I dated him knowing. By men, they love wide. Grateful you narrowed him. Her candor healed, friendship budding unexpected. November's chill brought cold feet, not his mine. Therapy unearthed. What if forgetting's hurt returns? What if I'm not enough? He held me. I steady. Your gravity. I orbit. Vows rewritten that night. Personal. Promises of presence, not perfection. December snowed ceremony eve. Guests arriving. Mia maid of honor sharp-suited. Theo officiant rye. Rehearsal dinner toasts tiered. Lauren's to loves that linger. His mother's tentative to new chapters. Alone after, fire crackling, Jordan slipped a ring, simple gold, engraved, lingering, sliding it home. Why more hurt? Because you're etched. Wedding day dawned crisp, barn aglow with lights, owl's petal strewn. I waited nervous, suit tailored, Mia adjusting boutonniere. Breathe, groom. Music swelled, indie folk, our song, and he appeared, blonde waves catching sun, eyes locked mine. Vows exchanged raw. His, you taught me forgetting's the real ghost. I'll haunt you with love. Mine, loving you hurts sweet, forgetting, exile. Choose me always. Rings exchanged, kiss ceiling, cheers erupting, confetti queer rainbow. Reception danced joy, toasts heartfelt, Mia's roast gentle, Elena's to truths told. Cake cut, first dance swaying, his head on shoulder, whispering forever's just starting. But high climax whispered later, his mother approaching, tears fresh. Beautiful. He, your father, would have smiled. Embrace tentative, bridge built. Honeymoon whispered, weekend Provincetown, dunes and dinners, bodies and books. Mornings salty, afternoons lazy, nights deep talks, futures sketched, adoptions dreamed, travels plotted. One eve, beach bonfire, he asked again, playful, still hurt more? I laughed, pulling close. Now? Only echoes. Love's the loudest,